When we found out about the Learning Works programme, we thought this is a really good opportunity to put on some short courses around subjects that people had told us they wanted to do more learning about, or they wanted to explore, or they wanted to do a taster. So it was a brilliant way of allowing people to have the opportunity to do a taster course and see whether they wanted to make it, whether they wanted to do more, whether it was something we wanted to put into our programme and develop. We also saw it as a really good opportunity of developing some conversations that we'd had with one of the housing associations, particularly around their deaf residents who weren't accessing any learning or training, and had asked for something around healthy cooking and eating. So by using the Learning Works programme, we could put on taster courses, they were very tasty courses as well, we could put on taster courses for that group of clients to see again whether it was something that they had a longer term interest in. And I think, you know, the answer is yes, they would definitely be interested in longer term programmes. So that was the first one we did, was the healthy cooking and eating. The applying for a job online, we knew from our work that one of the barriers to getting jobs for people is actually negotiating all the online stuff. So we thought, well, we've got the equipment, we've got the skills, let's open this up so that anybody can come along and see, you know, how they would go about applying for a job online. Not a lot of take-up for that, I have to say. Although we've marketed very widely, we would maybe need to look at how we marketed that were we to run it again. And the street dance, which was the other programme you funded, has just been great, and people have loved it. And it's for us, it's enabled us to offer some employment to somebody who is wanting to get back on the employment ladder. So it's great for her. It's given her a really good experience that she can then carry forward. And I think she's probably somebody that we would want to work with in the future and do maybe more sustained workshops. It's also kind of really ticked the healthy living box for us and for our students, and particularly for our students with learning difficulties. There's a higher level of obesity amongst people with learning difficulties than there is in the general population. So we've been looking at ways of putting on fun activities that will help people to stay fit and to get physically active. And people have said they'd really be interested in dance, and people had asked us for more physical activity programmes. So being able to deliver it as a taster meant that we could try this particular activity out and just see whether it was what people would respond to and whether we wanted to do more of it.
Fantastic. The partnership working side of things.
I'm really enthusiastic about partnership working. I think it works for our clients, it offers more diversity of opportunities, and it offers people a progression route. So I'm absolutely in favour of it, and we want to be part of it. The only thing I'd say is that because our catchment group is much wider than Battersea, I'd want to make it Wandsworth wide rather than just restricted to Battersea.
Right, that's an interesting point. So if we started with Battersea and then perhaps spread it out, grew it from there, it started with that. Because the thing that worries me about having it too wide to begin with is it starts to become unmanageable. Somehow keeping it in a locale seems to make it, or do you not think that is the case? You don't look as if you do.
I think maybe the issue is that you're dealing with different groups of people.
Yeah.
That where you're working with people who don't have any kind of disability, and who are very focused on an estate where they live. I think that very localised community setting is probably appropriate. But where you're working with a group of people who have specific needs, you're probably going to need to widen the geographical boundary.
I understand, that does make sense.
So for example, in my experience of working with deaf people is that they have a much wider boundary than other groups of people, partly because they are a linguistic minority, and so they will tend to seek activities and people that share their language and their culture. So when I worked for a deaf organisation, it wasn't unusual at all for deaf colleagues to be going off to parties in Edinburgh or Newcastle or what have you.
Right.
People will travel more.
Right.
And my experience of running an advice centre was that people would travel from a great distance. It was in Lambeth, but people would travel to get there because they knew there was someone there who they could communicate with and who understood deaf issues and deaf culture. So I think you're dealing with different groups of people, and our sort of clientele at Share are not exclusively Wandsworth based. They're mostly Wandsworth, not exclusively. And I think they would probably identify on a wider area, because some of them live in Putney, some of them live in Wandsworth and so on,
Mhm.
and some of them are Battersea.
Right, that's interesting.
So for our client group, I think there are limitations.
Mm.
If you're looking at people who are, living on a particular estate, then they may respond very differently.
Yeah, okay. So the final thing is, any ideas about what you might be bidding for in the Under 9 Hours, the Learning Works project next year? Any ideas of what you might be looking to bid for?
I've focused on the longer courses, I have to say, rather than the Under 9 Hours. And I'm looking for the August deadline for the Under 9 Hours programmes rather than the July deadline. But we're going to be carrying out some consultation with the people that are here already. I think it would be really helpful to have some family learning stuff. So to have some opportunities for the people that we work with and engage with to be learning something alongside their families and carers, because quite often we see what people are capable of, and their families are absolutely astounded and don't think they are capable of doing very much at all. So we've had people, for example, who are perfectly independent within Share. They'll get to their classes, they manage their own lunch, they're directing their own study as well to a large extent. Whereas when they get home, they have everything done for them, and their parents see them as really very dependent. So we think that there are opportunities to kind of grow people and their families, and which will open up their horizons. So that would be one thing. I think definitely some more physical activity. Oh, the other course that we ran, of course, was yoga, and that was well attended. Again, we didn't attract people who weren't already known to Share, which was disappointing because we did market quite widely, and we'd hoped to bring in people who didn't know us and weren't involved with us. But the people who did go to yoga found it really helpful. And the feedback from the teacher was that what people really loved was the relaxation. And she sensed that people have really quite stressful lives and they're dealing with a lot of rubbish that's thrown at them. And the relaxation rather than the kind of physical stretches and the physical practice was what people really enjoyed the most. So we'll be looking to do some more of that too.
Fantastic.
I'd love to do some mindfulness work. I would love to offer a mindfulness programme.
What would that entail?
It would entail giving people some basic breathing exercises and meditation techniques so that they could take more control of their mental well-being, and they could develop a resilience to the everyday stresses that they face. In a nutshell, that's what mindfulness is.
Do you have a teacher in mind for that?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.